So you miscrossed a cable and you don't know how to fix it. Well, I'm here to help you. I'm Marley Bird, your BiCrafty Bestie. Let's go.
Show me love, show me love. This is all we got.
Hello there, friends, and welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can drop down stitches to correct a miscrossed cable without having to pull out all of the stitches on your project. This is not a very difficult technique. It does take a little bit of patience though, and I know that you can accomplish this. So let's go ahead and take a look at my swatch. Okay, so I have a little cable swatch that I am just working up here. None of my cables are actually miscrossed, but we're gonna pretend that that cable right there is going the wrong way. So here's what I'm gonna do. I've worked over to where this cable stitch is. It's a 4-stitch cable. And what I wanna do is I am going to let all of my stitches come off of my needle for those 4 stitches. Okay, all of the stitches that are part of that cable, I'm gonna let them come off, all right? Using a double point that is the same size as the needles you're using or one size smaller, totally up to you, we're going to pull out each of these rows until we get down here to where the cross cable is. Now I am on a right side row, so for me, I like to think of it as the first row I pull off, that was my wrong side. The next row I pull off, that was my right side. Next row I pull off, that was my wrong side. And the next row is going to be a right side row, and it actually was the row that I cabled. Okay, can you see how those they just fanned out? They no longer cross over each other, okay? So this is where I take an opportunity. I look at what I have here, all right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. That's what I want. Before, I had these 2 stitches cross over these 2. And let's say I wanted it to be the opposite, all right? So let's go ahead. We're gonna grab these 2 stitches. And I'm gonna put them on my cable needle. And I'm gonna grab these 2 stitches and I'm gonna put them on my double point. Make sure I'm not splitting the yarn. Okay, put them on my double point. Now, if I hold these 2 to the front and then put these behind these 2, that's gonna give me a left cross cable. If I hold these 2 to the back and then work these 2 and go over, I'm gonna get a right cross cable. So first thing you gotta do is get all of the stitches that you're going to be working with, right? And get them divided up. Decide what's gonna happen here. So we have 4 stitches. Do I want the first 2 to go in front or do I want the first 2 to go in back? You decide. Well, for this particular pattern, I actually want these first 2 to go in back, okay? So I ripped down, and even though I ripped down and they were already in back, let's just put them back there, okay? Maybe I ripped down and I didn't really have a mistake. I was like, oh man, but this is how you fix it. So I want these 2 stitches to go in back. So I'm gonna just hold them to the back, just like I would if I were normally cabling, all right? Now this is where I will take the needle that I'm actually working with, and I look at all of my strands of yarn here, and I wanna use the one that's the closest to the row I'm on. So the one that I pulled out last, I wanna use that one, okay? So I'm gonna pull that one down here to play. These 3, I want them to be out of the way. So I'm just gonna move them up there out of the way. Now, I'm gonna hold this yarn and I'm gonna hold it just like I would if it were just working yarn, okay? So I'm gonna take this needle and using that strand, I'm gonna go into each one of these stitches and I'm going to knit them. So I'm gonna knit these 2, okay? Come back over here. I'm gonna grab the 2 stitches that I put on a holder. Grab the 2 stitches I put on a holder, and I'm gonna put them back onto my quote unquote left-hand needle, which is my double point here, right? So now they're back onto my double point and I've crossed over. So now I need to knit these 2 stitches. So I'm gonna go into each one, again, using that same yarn, and ideally, it should get so snug that you don't have like extra slack to hold on to it. And it's at that point, I will drape the yarn over my needle and pull it through and off. And then come here into this one. I will grab that strand and just like a bind off, have that stitch jump over the strand. And voila, we have a cable crossed, okay? I move all of these stitches back to my left-hand needle. And back to the left-hand needle. Here are my 3 strands, again, that I need to pick up. So I'm going to work each one individually. So I go to the next bottommost one, the next bottommost one, and now there are no actual cables that need to happen, right? These just need to be knit. So I will use my needle here, and using the bottommost strand, I'm going to knit them. So knit 1, knit 2, and as they get going, you want to make sure that they are nice and tidy. See, one jump over the other, and then give them a pull. And they should all go back into place. So there's that one. So I got to do the next round, right? The next round. If at this point you're starting to get along pretty good, you could always put these needles on this left-hand needle instead of the double point if you're comfortable with that. Totally up to you. But let's do this again. So we're going to go into this stitch. We're going to bottommost yarn. So I wrap it around, pull through, wrap it around and pull through, go in, wrap it around and pull through, wrap it around and pull through. Now, as you're doing these, the more you're able to use up the slack of those ladders that you rip down, the better, okay? You don't want to have a lot of extra slack there. As you get down to those last couple stitches, you do want those to be, you want to use up all that yarn, right? So we're on our last one here. Last one. So I'm going to go into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through, and over, pull through, go into the last one here, and I come back here and I scoop up my ladder and jump. So now I've picked up all my stitches. I don't have any more ladders, right? So I can place these stitches back onto my left-hand needle. All my stitches are crossed correctly, all my stitches are picked up correctly, and everything's good. So the bottom line is you're going to drop your stitches, you're going to cross the stitches however they need to be crossed, and then you're going to use those ladders that you pulled out to actually knit or purl. You could do this with purling too. Actually knit or purl those stitches, working their way back up, okay? Once they're back up and back on the needle, everything's going to be a-okay. You got that? Let's say that you have finished your entire project and you're looking at it, and it's only then that you realize you have a cable that's miscrossed. So right here, I have this nice rope cable where all of these stitches are going towards the right, correct? But I have this one right here that goes to the left. How do I fix that without ripping out my entire hat? Well, I could do it with duplicate stitch, where I will simulate that I have stitches and I will make it so that they cross correctly. Let me show you what I mean. So this cable right here, this is the one I want to correct. So essentially, instead of having these 2 stitches go on top of these 2, I want these 2 on top of this one. So I am going to go in and I am going to create new stitches in the place of those 2. And I'm going to create extra fabric that I can use to come across and then connect over here. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to come inside the hat, and I am going to recreate the stitches that are underneath these cables right now. I'm going to recreate them and put them on top. So I'm coming out from underneath where that cable is. I'm going to pull up, make sure I have some yarn, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to duplicate stitch. So I'm going underneath the stitch up here where it normally would have went if it were cabled correctly. Come back down here. I'm going to come underneath. Again, that would have come up here and it would have went underneath these 2. Come back down here and finish the stitch. All right. So now they look like they're a little big, so I can always grab my tail and my working yarn, just pull those stitches in a little, and voila, I now have a correctly crossed cable. So I can take this yarn here and I can pull it back to the inside. Weave in my tail and you would never know. You can fuss with these a little bit if you need them to, expand out a little bit more, whatever. But like that's like one of the easiest things ever to just, now I have a corrected cable. I didn't have to do anything else with it, right? Pretty cool. It's very easy. So don't let the idea of putting a cable the wrong way or miscrossing a cable terrify you enough that you never start that cable project. You absolutely could do it. There are a couple ways you can correct them, just as I've shown you here, whether it's dropping stitches down and then rearranging them and then picking them back up all the way up, or just using duplicate stitch after everything is said and done to fake it till you make it. All right. Good luck, everybody. Bye.